I'm at the Pygmy Forest Trail at the Damme State Park. The only food item I have with me is coffee and water. Oh, a fork in the trail. It's a nice bench area. The land on which the Pygmy Forest now grows was once under the Pacific Ocean. Geologic uplift and changes in the sea level exposed the land and created a series of terraces, each one about 100 feet higher than the last, and 100,000 to 200,000 years older than the one below. There's a new terrace being formed. This is so cool. Wow. Okay. Huh. I really hope I don't run into any mountain lions. There's a squirrel. It's jumping. A jumping squirrel. It is a very cute little squirrel. All squirrels jump. California huckleberry. It's an edible berry ranging from shiny black to powdery blue. And they were an important part of the diet for Native Americans, who regularly set fire to the forest in order to increase the next year's yield. Interesting. I will have to remember that these are huckleberries. I don't think that there's going to be anything on them this time of the year, though, so that I could try one. I feel like I'm on top of a bog. I think this is a bog. That might be why the huckleberries grow so well. The Bolender pine is unique to the Pygmy Forest. These trees are close relatives of the beech pine that grows along the coast and the lodgepole pine in the Sierra Nevada. Pygmy cypress and Bolender pine often grow in thickets of cane-like trees that, although very small, are biologically mature and bear fertile cones. Huh. They really do have a bunch of cones on them. Look at this. I mean, this tree is super little and scraggly, but it's got some good-sized cones on there. My goodness. No wonder they call this a Pygmy forest. Wow, that's really neat. This is the first time I've been up here. Hopefully, it is not the last. Hopefully, I do not get eaten by a mountain lion or a bear. Then my mom will be so mad at me. Yep, she will be very mad at me if I become animal food. Huh. But that's part of why I'm talking to you, camera, because a really great deterrent for bears and other creatures is to not be quiet. And I'm not going to yell, "Ho, bear." because that's dumb, in my opinion. This is just so weird that it's a bog like this so far up. Oh, wow. An old bench. I guess this has been sort of a park and coastal trail for a while for there to be such an old deteriorated bench up here. Wow, I don't think that I've seen lichens like that growing on the ground, that kind of moss on the ground. Normally, I see it growing on trees, not on the ground. That is so neat. And it really is beautiful. Mendocino cypress. The Mendocino, or Pygmy cypress, is found only on coastal terraces between Fort Bragg and Anchor Bay. When not in poor soil, a tree can grow over 100 feet tall. Here, a tree with a trunk diameter of 1/4 inch, standing only a foot or two high, may have as many as 80 growth rings. Some of these trees are undoubtedly over a century old and only a foot or two high. Wow, that's crazy. So then this little tree that's like maybe 7 feet tall is 700 years old? That is insane. Wow. So then how old are these trees up here that are like 30 feet tall? Wow. If it takes them that long to grow. Bishop pine. A taller tree that often borders and frequently grows within the Pygmy forest. The bishop pine has a larger cone and much longer grayish needles than the greener-hued Bolander pine. Both pines retain their cones for many years. Some cones remain closed until a fire opens them to spread the seeds that start a new forest. So those ones are taller because they're a different kind of pine. But they're holding on to their cones. No wonder some of the cones up there look really old. I mean, look at that. Those cones do look very old. Okay, so I guess I have made it past the bog, but it's mud. So I don't know if I want to walk in the mud. That's the access road for maintenance. Is there... Oh, golly. I don't have a trail map or anything. Huh. It's kind of creepy up here. where's the actual trail? Because this is just the access road, I think. I don't see any, what you call it, animal paw prints. So that's good. Animals don't use this road, I guess. Maybe. Who knows? My mom will be so mad at me if I survive cancer just to end up being eaten by a bear. And then who will take care of her? She can't even drive. She can't even drive. Oh, there's more trail maps down that way. Very good. Fern Canyon, 1.2 miles or 2.3 miles? Okay, so I'm right there. Or no. Okay, I'm right there. That is a big-ass fly. Oh. Okay. I don't know if I want to try and go down to the Fern Canyon Trail. I guess I can try, and depending on how the conditions of the trail, I might turn back around. There's like a whole bunch of puddles. I really don't want to be stomping through the mud. That is not my idea of a fantastic time. And the other fork back up there looked like it was very muddy. Okay, well, it is a river. The lake is a river. Okay. I am not going to do that then. Okay, that's fine. Hopefully they get the bridges and other parts of the Fern Canyon Trail repaired soon. And maybe later in the year I can come back and try again, and the trail won't be a river. I don't know, let's take a look down here. I mean, there's a puddle. God, I hear people talking. Gosh, it would be great if they actually did something so that there weren't any parts of the trail that were rivers. I've been on the Fern Canyon Trail before, and it is very beautiful. It's a beautiful trail. I think I did not make it all the way up here to the Pygmy forest part of anything when I was on it before. But I made it across, I want to say it was like 7 bridges before I decided to turn back. I did make it past where the wilderness campsites were. I hear people. Are there people up there? I don't know. Maybe I'm just hearing things. That does tend to happen when you go hiking by yourself. You start hearing things. Well, I think the video's about to cut out, so I will possibly start another soon. Oh, it didn't cut out at 20 minutes. Well, I'll keep going for as long as it does. A lot of times the video cuts out after a certain amount of time. Okay, there's another river. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't look like it's part of the trail. Okay. Yes, that was easier than trying to balance beam. It's been a long time since I've walked on the balance beam. Those trees right there are redwoods. And that one right there is a pine. It's really neat seeing the color differences and leaf structure differences side by side. And also a slightly more mature redwood than that one right there, which is significantly younger, but still not a really old one. And part of why I am so reluctant to utilize the trails that are rivers is because my shoes were supposed to be waterproof. That's what the box said, but they aren't. They aren't, which is very disappointing. I do otherwise like them, which is why I didn't take them back. And there's more huckleberries. I don't see anything developing on them either, so obviously they're not in season right now. Darn it, I forgot my freaking... Oh, wow. Oh, look. It's twins. Okay. I forgot my trekking poles. Darn it. I like bringing those, but this trail is very moderate so far. Just aside from the parts of it that are little rivers. That's a beautiful manzanita. Maybe, no, I don't think it is a manzanita after all. Maybe it is. And if the birds are making noise, there's probably not any bears nearby. Probably. I'm not totally sure. Do you hear the woodpeckers? I gotta check behind you every once in a while. Yep. starting to descend. What time is it? It is 9:23 in the morning. Okay. You know, I don't feel like I necessarily need to get down to the Fern Canyon Trail. Maybe. I just definitely appreciate getting down to actual forest. Not that the Pygmy forest wasn't forest, but it's not necessarily my idea of a forest, that the trees 7 feet tall are 700 years old. I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy land forest. No mountain lions behind me. Very good. Oh, that's a pretty little flower plant thing, whatever that is. I'm not sure. Well, obviously it's a plant that has a flower on it. Oh, and look at the little purple one right there. With redwood clover. Redwood clover is edible and very high in iron. There's steps down. Interesting. That's a good way to prevent trail erosion. Yeah. And they're so graduated that it won't be a huge problem going back up, I don't think. Well, not that it would be a huge problem, but it will make me regret not bringing my trekking poles. I like my trekking poles when I'm going up. I've made it to the redwood part of the forest. Redwoods are my favorite trees. I love redwoods. But this area, it is looking slightly confusing on where the trail might be. Maybe. No, okay, it was just a matter of perspective. You don't want to end up lost when you're hiking all by yourself, that's for damn sure. Yes, I definitely regret that I forgot my trekking poles. Definitely getting closer to the Fern Canyon Trail. I don't hear any wildlife in this part of the forest right now. Are they scared of me, or is it something else? I don't know. I can't help but wonder if I should turn back. There is a bird off in the distance. Right. I feel like I should turn back for my own safety. Yep, this is me turning back. If I wasn't the only person out here, I wouldn't be so fucking paranoid. But I'm the only person on this trail, I think. I haven't seen anybody else. And while I have thought several times that I've heard people, I didn't. Okay. I think I am going to sit right here and have a spot of coffee. It's like this spot was just made right for my butt. Okay. I don't think anybody knows where I am right now, so gotta be careful. God, I'm paranoid right now. Fuck. It's too early in the morning to be this freaking paranoid. Whatever. Hopefully, I'll make it back to my truck and everything will be fine. And my mom won't be completely disappointed in me for getting eaten by a bear or mountain lion. Hopefully. God, I didn't even grab my pepper spray. Fuck. I am disappointed in me for that. God, maybe the noises I'm reacting to are noises that I freaking make. God. That would figure. They should make more benches out here. Okay, I'm back to hearing the little birds. That's the thing that was making me paranoid, that I wasn't hearing any little birds or seeing any little animals. They were all so far away, it was making me freaking paranoid. Okay, and I'm back to the pygmy part of the forest now. The Fern Canyon Trail is a very popular trail. Very popular. But the only access to it is from up here, because last year, in those bad California storms that we had in the valley and in the coast, there was a whole bunch of damage done at a lot of different places. One of those is trails, campsites, state parks. I have no regrets about turning back. I was starting to get very nervous. Whenever something doesn't feel right, it's probably better to trust your gut, because something probably isn't right. Probably. Although sometimes it's just your own paranoia. Probably. You never know. Unless, of course, you're being paranoid and you choose not to pay attention, and then something happens. the first river that I crossed, I guess. Yes, this was my first and only river crossing. Oh man, now my feet are wet. They didn't get wet last time. Oh well. I'm wearing wool socks. Always wear wool socks when you're going hiking. Always. Wool socks. They are moisture wicking and antimicrobial, anti-odor. Wool socks are the best socks. Hands down. I think I'm gonna head back into that part of the trail that's basically a bridge over the bog and find one of those benches and sit and knit for a while. I do have my knitting with me. No food, but I've got my knitting. Now that is manzanita. I managed, oh gosh, around 10 years ago to dig up a couple small manzanita plants for my mom. God, I want to say it was, I don't know, around a dozen years ago. Sadly, they did not make it. They are beautiful, though. And my mom really likes manzanita. So do I. So do I. And I think it's really neat. If you look at it, it's alive. See? It's got the nice red bark, but then there's this. It's on the same plant. This is clearly dead, and it does not have the same beautiful red bark. And see, there's a major branch right there. It's dead, but look at that. Half of the branch has a red bark, and the other half that's dead doesn't. It's just dead. Manzanitas are beautiful, beautiful shrubs. I should see again if I could dig one up somewhere and try and bring it home for my mom, but there's no point because she barely leaves the house and she can't drive. So it's not like she could enjoy it. Yep. I probably should not have gone camping this weekend because there's so much freaking yard work at home I've got to get caught up on. I could have used my 4-day weekend to work on that instead, but I don't consider mentally yard work as nature. I know a lot of people do, and they're able to recharge from gardening. It's close enough to nature for them. But for me, it's not. And while I know that I'm not actually in the wilderness right now, not really, given that there is a man-made trail that I'm walking on. That is a beautiful specimen of manzanita. Holy camole. It really is a gorgeous specimen. The red, brown bark. Manzanita is a really beautiful shrub. Over there is bug. This manzanita is not as pretty, in my personal opinion. It looks like it's on the verge of death. Manzanitas make me think of bonsai trees, because they just have the beautiful flowing branches with a few leaves here and there. I should dig up a manzanita so that I can bonsai it. I need to restart my bonsai garden. I did have a nice bonsai garden, but it unfortunately died when I had cancer because it it was not watered for the entire 3 months that I was away in treatment. My son was supposed to take care of stuff, and he didn't. I mean, I have my doubts he was really feeding the animals that much. He swears up and down that he was, but I could tell from the quality of the eggs that he brought me on his last visit before I came back home. Those eggs, they weren't right. They weren't right. I think the birds were starving to death, and that's why their eggs weren't right. I mean, they weren't rotten or anything, but it was like they were pre-scrambled. It was very weird. I have not ever seen eggs like that ever before. And I hope to never again. Oh, look, there is a bench. I'm not going to sit on it. I'm almost back to where the trail came out at. Right there. Okay. Here we go. Back into the Pygmy forest. And this is the way that we came from right there. So I'm going to go this way. Dwarf manzanita. The dominant low shrub with very small leaves is a dwarf or Fort Bragg manzanita. For the most part, it is restricted to the soils of the pygmy forest. The taller, hairy manzanita is also found in the pygmy forest. So I believe that one right there is a dwarf manzanita. Yeah. Because down there I am seeing some reddish bark. That's reddish. I'm pretty sure that's the dwarf manzanita. Yeah. Yeah, that one right there has more red on it. So far, I'm not seeing any of the regular manzanita in here, though. This tiny little tree right here. It's crazy. Crazy to think that those trees, a tree that's not even, well, 6 feet tall, is over 500 years old? That's insane. I mean, I guess I could see it if it was a bonsai, because those are maintained by humans to keep that super small. Ah, there's the regular sized manzanita. Hairy manzanita, they're called, I guess. But yeah, bonsais are maintained by humans to retain their super small shape. Oh, those aren't the dwarf manzanitas, they're rhododendrons. Okay, that makes sense too, because they do have a reddish bark. In the pygmy forest, the California rhododendron, or California rose bay, is a common shrub along the northern Pacific coast. It's dwarfed. It is 5 times taller in the neighboring redwood forest. It grows best in acidic soils and is less dwarfed than the other plants. In spring, its pinkish red blooms dominate the landscape with spectacular displays. We are a little too early to see the spectacular blooms of a natural wild rhododendron. Just a little bit. Those are huckleberry blooms right there. So they're probably going to be a June or July berry. Probably. Probably. That would be my guess. Okay. And there is the... Maybe that one just recently bloomed. I don't know. Maybe the rhododendron already bloomed. Anyways, there's the bench right back at the beginning. There's an arrow. I didn't even notice it on the way in. I guess it wants people to go that way first. Interesting. And there's the truck. There's the truck. It's so weird for there to be a bog at the top of the hill. That is strange. Okay, I made it back to the truck just fine. And nobody else is here. No horses allowed on the trail either. That part is apparently closed. Okay, signing off.